right.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned a moment ago, make sure you have something that you can use to clear your nostrils as we explore some different ways of working with the breath to create that enlivening experience that yoga gives us. And find a comfortable seat to elongate through your spine. Let the shoulders roll down and back, and let the heart spread. I am going to put you all on mute here. And as you continue to lift right up through the crown of your head, connecting to what is expansive and vast, that infinity that surrounds us, and also as a reminder of the infinity that is within us as divine energy. Also, at the same time, root down through your sitting bones and your tailbone, down into the earth. So we also have that palpable, tangible sense of support and grounding. And let your eyes close. And just begin to notice the quality of your breathing. Just how it naturally is showing up right here. Notice where you sense the breathing, whether it's in the belly or in the chest or at the nostrils. Notice whether it's deep and slow, or whether it's more rapid, without trying to alter or change anything. Just seeing how you're showing up today. And I offer you these words from Rabbi Arthur Waskow. In the beginning, darkness covered the face of the deep. Then the rushing breath of life hovered over the waters. Let us breathe together. Let us catch our breaths from the need to make, to do. Let us be conscious of the breath of life. We breathe out what the trees breathe in. We breathe in what the trees breathe out. Together we breathe each other into life. Blessed is the one within the many. Blessed are the many who make one. And then still staying with your eyes closed, refresh your posture to recommit to that length in your spine and that openness in the chest. As you lift and lengthen through your spine, you create more space for the breath by lifting the lower ribs away from the pelvic bowl. And letting the lips remain gently closed, begin to let the breath consciously deepen. Letting the breath become a little slower and a little deeper as you fill all the way up into the chest. An empty chest, empty ribs, empty belly. So the breath becomes a wave that moves through you from belly into your ribs, up into the chest, surrounding the heart with life energy. And as you exhale in the other direction, from chest down to the belly. At the end of your exhale, your navel draws in to completely expel the breath. And the invitation here is to enjoy your breathing. This breathing practice should not be a chore, but a celebration. And there are a few different levels, three perspectives or ways to connect with the act of breathing. The first level is simply the physical metabolic process of breathing. Knowing that with each in-breath that you invite in, you are enlivening all your cells, your muscles, your organs, your brain, filling them up, recharging them with fresh oxygen. And with every out-breath, you are releasing toxins, the waste products from the cells, which is expelled as carbon dioxide. And if you slow down the breathing just a little more and create that little narrowing in the back of the throat known as ujjayi breath, a little contraction of the epiglottis. So the breath slows down and the air warms a little bit as it comes in and out of the lungs. That makes for a more efficient exchange of that carbon dioxide releasing and oxygen coming in. So this first way of connecting with breathing is simply biochemical. And it's miraculous. It's a miraculous process. We can appreciate the breath just at that level. You can even begin to take a little pause at the top of the breath to hold and feel that energizing effect of this biochemical process we call breathing. You can take a little pause at the bottom of the exhale so that you really experience the completion of the breath and the emptiness, and that little space between out-breath and in-breath. And the second way that we can connect with our breathing is on an energetic level, a more subtle level, which is taking in, knowing that each breath is a taking in of prana, life force, life energy. So with every inhale, feel that prana glistening in every cell, vibrating in every atom, every particle of your being dancing with energy as you inhale. And with every exhale, there's an outward flowing energy moving down and out, and it's a purification, a letting go of whatever needs to be released in the body, any tension in the body, any distraction in the mind, or heaviness in the emotional realm, in the realm of the heart. So each breath is an energetic rejuvenating and purification. And the third way that we can connect with our breathing is on the level of breath as prayer. Each inhale, it's the root of the word inspiration, inspire, to take in spirit with each in-breath. Each in-breath is a drawing in of divine grace, an opening to Spirit's love. You can think of it that way. And every out-breath is an offering yourself to that power that breathes you. It's a surrendering of your ego, of that illusion of separateness. And it's a turning over of your individual will to something greater, to a sense of higher power. And you can choose any or all of these ways to enjoy your breathing. On the level of biology, on the level of energy and the level of prayer. And I'm going to invite you to take this breathing practice into a square breathing, very calming and balancing practice as our basic practice of pranayama, breath control. So just breathing in and out through the nose with a gentle ujjayi, contraction in the back of the throat. We'll take 4 counts on the in-breath. 4 counts to hold the breath in at the top of the breath. 4 counts exhale. And 4 counts holding the out-breath. And you can use the music as a way to help count. So beginning on the inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold that out breath. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold on the out breath. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Breathing in. You can use just your counting, hold, or you can layer on a mantra if you'd like. The one that I'm going to offer you is Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Praise and victory to God. Inhale, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, hold. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, exhale. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama, hold. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Now releasing the 4-part breath, bring your palms together in front of your heart. And together, let's join our voices in the sound of Om. Taking a deep breath in, exhale with a long, slow Om. And just take a moment to notice what's alive in you as the result of your conscious breathing practice. And let your eyes open with a soft gaze. And take a deep breath in, and we'll take some seated cat-cow. Inhale, and so what we're doing is we're just letting the body now be an extension of the breath. So let the breath take the body into an arched back. Look up, spread your heart. Exhale, rock back onto the back end of your sit bones, chin to chest. And spread wide between the shoulder blades, rounding, drawing the shoulders forward, chin comes down toward the chest. Pull the navel in. Rock forward, arch the back, look up. Big breath in. Exhale, contract. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, contract. Pick up the pace a little bit. Inhale, in through the nose, out through the nose. Staying with that soft ujjayi breath, brushing the back of the throat. Inhale, arch back. Exhale, release. Inhale, lengthen the spine, come up to center. And I'll mirror you here. Let your right arm lift to the sky. Big breath in, take it into a side bend. Opening and expanding through the ribs on your right side. Take that side bend a little deeper. And then as you exhale, turn toward your right into a twist. Lengthen up, root to crown, lead with your heart. Exhale completely. Inhale, lift up, arms rise to the sky. Exhale, float them down. Long spine, lift up through the left arm, reach it high. Exhale into your side bend. Try not to bend your elbow. Try to stay long with that left arm. You can bend your right elbow a little more to deepen into that side bend. Expand through the rib cage and then exhale into a twist toward your left. Inhale up to center, and hands come down to your sides. And straighten out your legs. I bet that will feel good to come out of that cross-legged position. And shake them out. And give them a little pat down. Point and flex the feet. Circle the ankles, the toes circle outward in opposite directions. And inward. And swing the legs around. You're going to come into your table pose. I'm going to turn sideways. You can face just frontwards on your mat and take it into a cat-cow. Again, letting the breath be the leader of the dance. The breath takes the body with it into these spinal extensions, movements of extension and flexion. Exploring the edges of movement as you explore the fullness of breath. Full range of movement, full range of breath. Maybe even coming up onto fingertips into that cat stretch so you get a little bit more lift. Squeezing out all the breath. And then bring the hands forward a couple of inches, maybe 4 inches or so, and find some space for you to circle the hips. Exploring the edges of the range of motion here with these big circles. And circling the other way. Giving your hip joints a nice stirring up with the head of your thigh bone in that hip joint. Coming back to center, we'll take it into a seal pose. Come forward with your, drawing the chest forward. Give a little bend in the elbows. Slowly bring your tippy toes together and your heels close to your buttocks. So you feel that wonderful expansion across the front of the torso. A deeper back bend. Drop your shoulders a little more. Spread the heart. Look up. Exhale. Press away into a cat stretch. Inhale, come into your seal pose again, maybe letting the pelvis drop a little bit lower, just hovering over the mat. You're on your thighs here, not on your knees. You've come forward onto your thighs. Exhale, press away, get as much lift as you can. Squeeze out all the breath. One more time into your seal pose. Maybe bringing those heels a little closer to the buttocks. Exhale. Finding the opposite stretch as you press the floor away and sink it back into your child's pose. Either knees wide or knees together. Whatever serves you best in your child, reaching your fingertips forward. Forehead comes down toward the mat, to the mat if you can. Sitting bones melt back to the heels. Staying connected with that deep, delicious wave of breath. Each breath is extending your life for another few moments. If we could be awake to that miracle and that blessing every time we breathed, that would be an amazing way to move through our life. All these trivial things that we get upset about would melt away in the awareness of that. And rising back up into your table pose, bring your knees underneath your hips and slide your left foot back and press out through the heel, giving a little stretch to the calf muscle, pressing down and forward into the hands. And then again, shoulders over wrist, arm bones stacked. I'm going to take it into a twist sequence. So lifting the right hand to the sky, you're going to stack your shoulders on top of one another, turning your heart to the right. Exhale, thread it through like a thread the needle, reaching under and behind your left hand. Right fingers reach long, tucking right shoulder under left. Inhale, open up again, facing right, reaching your right hand to the sky. And then take it into a bind, reaching the back of the hand to your left hip. Drop the left hip a little more, roll that right shoulder open, look up at the sky. Big inhale. And exhale, release. This time pressing right hand down under shoulder. We're going to open up into a half circle the other way. So roll open your left hip on top of your right and grow long from tippy toes to fingertips all across the left side of your body. Half circle, reach long. And then reach straight up. There's a golden cord hanging down and let it draw you up. Here you begin to engage your core. We'll take it into a gate pose. So pivot, externally rotate your extended leg so that the knee points straight up. Toes can be lifted or pointed, but you can have your foot flat or foot flexed. And reach up with the opposite arm, taking your gate pose. Open your gate. So we get a nice side body stretch here on the other side. And exhale, wheel down right back into your half circle and back into your table with the left leg extended. Now we're going to play with a kind of a fun transition here. Just take the knee that you're kneeling on, the right knee, and pivot that right foot as far over to the left as it will go. And then walk or slide the left leg back. So you come into a pigeon pose. So you're going to scooch back on your mat here. Hands come under the shoulders, and we're just going to take a kind of a squirmy pigeon here. So just a way to open the hip a little bit and warm up, stretch the glutes a little bit. So just rocking side to side, supporting yourselves. It's a little better to come up on fists or fingertips here, so you can get that lovely, elegant back bend here. And if it feels good, you can let your pigeon dance a little bit with dolphin waves. Sort of undulations of the spine, bowing forward, leading with the heart, and leading behind the heart like there's a string lifting you up behind the heart. And then lifting up, press the hands under the shoulders, back toes curl under, and press back to your downward facing dog. Maybe coming forward on your mat a little bit to reposition yourself. Feel the lovely stretch in the backs of the legs. Lift the sacrum high, press down and forward into your fingers, thumbs, roots of the fingers. Navel lifts in and up. Big, long inhale, and slowly release the knees on the exhale back into table pose, bringing knees back down to the mat, maybe taking another cat-cow. And then we'll take that sequence on the other side. So you're going to slide the right foot back, press out through the heel, down and forward into the hands, get a little calf stretch. Breathe into that. Use the breath to massage any places where you feel restriction or tightness in the body. The exhale kind of carries away the tension. And then once again, bringing the shoulders over the wrists. I'm going to lift the left hand, taking that revolved half circle twist. Exhale, thread it through. Let the right elbow bend into a 90-degree angle as you reach through and tuck that left shoulder under. Inhale, open up back into that half circle twist. Grow long and wide and take it into a bind. The back of the hand of the right hand or the left hand comes to the right hip. Rolling left shoulder open. Look up at the sky. Keep pressing out through that right heel. And release, and we'll take it into a half circle the other way. So roll open the right hip. Press your hip pointers toward the right side of your mat and take a nice long half circle. Big breath in, grow an inch longer from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers on that right side. And then reach up for the golden cord. Let it draw you up. Externally rotate that extended leg and take it into gate pose. Reaching your fingertips to that short end of your mat there, the back end of your mat. Exhale back into your half circle. Grow long and come back into both hands under your shoulders. And then from here, take that little pivot. So you can even slide your knee forward, your left knee forward a little bit, and pivot that left foot over to the right. Slide the right leg back, and take your playful, dancing, what did we call it? Squirming pigeon. Squirmy pigeon. Up either on fingertips or fists, so you get that lift and you get that nice arch in the back and opening in the chest. And maybe taking those dolphin waves or whatever movements intuitively feel good in your pigeon pose. Here to free up the spine, open the hips, stretch the glutes, and enliven your whole system with prana, life energy. And then once again, lifting up, finding that lovely pigeon open heart. Press back into your downward facing dog. Pressing the area of the low belly below the navel toward the tops of the thighs. See if you can get a little deeper into that pelvic tilt, tilting your tailbone back and spread your sit bones wide. Slowly float the knees down. And from here, I'm going to invite you to come to sit on your heels. And many of you will find that having 1 or 2 blocks underneath your sitting bones can help support you here, especially if you have any knee issues where your knees aren't happy with this, or your quads are too tight, then maybe 2 blocks would be better. If sitting with your heels tucked under you like this, even on blocks, is uncomfortable, then you can just sit cross-legged. Since we're working with experimenting with the breath today, and all the different ways that controlling the breath can enliven us and increase the flow of prana, which is really the whole point of yoga practice, we are going to try some different pranifying or energy-enhancing practices. This one is called Bhastrika Pranayama. Bhastrika means bellows breath. So your belly is going to be like a bellows that goes in and out and in and out and in and out. And it's similar to Kapalabhati, which many of us have done together, which is a focus on the exhale. It's a strong, sharp contraction of the belly in and up, a vigorous contraction, and it creates an out-breath. If you breathe just through your nose, creates an out-breath like you're blowing a bug out of your nose. So here's where you might want to take your hanky and clear your nostrils, because sometimes the snot will go flying around if you don't do that. But instead of Kapalabhati, which is just a focus on the exhale, we're going to focus equally on the inhale. So it's going to be a strong, quick inhalation with the arms rising, and an exhale making fists and drawing the hands in. So as if you're drawing that prana, that life energy from the heavens, right into your solar plexus area, which is your center of your will and your energy and your focus. So it's strong inhale, hands open, strong exhale. So equal inhale, exhale. As you pull the belly in and up, everything through the nose. It looks like this. Okay, so you can go as slow as you need to. We're going to start really slow, and then for those of you who feel comfortable, we can pick up the pace a little bit. If you get dizzy or lightheaded or feel pain and it doesn't feel comfortable for you, shouldn't do this if you're pregnant or if you've had abdominal surgery recently. So otherwise, just do the 3-part breaths. But otherwise, if you're going to practice this and you feel anyway uncomfortable or lightheaded, just stop and go back to Dirga Pranayama, long 3-part breaths. There's no contraindications for that practice. Long spine, open heart. Take a deep breath in, let the hands reach to the sky. Big breath in. Really slowly exhale. Pull the hands in toward the belly. I just claim that breath, all that prana as your birthright. Inhale, exhale. And we'll make it short, sharp inhalations and exhalations. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Keep the facial muscles soft. The movement is all from the belly. Belly moves out on the inhale and pulls in sharply on the exhale. Those of you who wish to can pick up the pace. Slow it down. Even slower. Deeper. One more. Inhale, slowly reach up. Fill all the way up into the chest. Exhale, stick out the tongues and release all the breath, folding forward. Inhale, sit up. Breathe in through the nose. Fill up into the chest about 3/4 of the way and hold. If you want to drop your chin to your chest to create a seal in the chest area, this is the throat lock, seals the energy. I'm going to hold that in-breath until the need to release is strong. Not strained, but just strong. Allowing all that life energy to seep into every cell, and oxygenate the blood, enliven the brain. If you can even draw the Mula Bandha root lock, engage that by drawing the pelvic floor up toward the navel. So you create a seal at the bottom of the spine, seal at the top, allowing that energy to move through all of the chakra points along the Sushumna, spinal nerve. When the need to release that inhale feels right for you, just lift the chin and release. And just let your palms rest gently on your lap and notice what is alive in you. Notice the effects of Bhastrika Pranayama, the bellows breath. It's a very powerful, energizing practice. And then when you're ready, come back onto your hands and knees, and toes curl under, press back to downward facing dog. Feel the length from your hips all the way down the back body, through the shoulders, upper arms, lower arms, to the fingertips and down into the earth. Feel the length across the backs of the legs from your sitting bones down through the legs through the heels into the earth. And then walk the feet to come between the hands into your forward bend. Spine pours out of the pelvis, drapes over the legs. Find some movement of the head. Side to side, yes and no. And take a half lift. Lengthen out from tail to crown, half forward bend, Ardha Uttanasana. Flat back, reverse shrug with the shoulders, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. And exhale, fold over the legs. Soften the knees and sweep the hands out to the horizons, rising up into extended mountain. Reach through the right fingertips, the left fingertips. Palms come together and return to your heart. Inhale, arms rise like the sun. And let the heart and the hands and the gaze look up to the sky. Exhale, take a forward bend, dive. Inhale, halfway lift, just like you did a moment ago, flat back. And really engage the navel here. Navel draws in and up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back with both feet, come into plank pose. Press out through the heels, flat back. Send your tailbone toward the back end of your mat. All the abdominal muscles drawing in toward the center. Big breath, exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Buttocks up in the air. Toes curled under, hands under the shoulders. Inhale, draw the heart forward. Come into your Cobra Pose. You can take a baby cobra to start. Anchor down the tops of the feet, lift the hands and reach them back behind you. Clasp the fingers if you can to come into snake pose, squeezing the shoulder blades toward the center of your back. Hands again, place under the shoulders, press up into a deeper cobra if it feels available, otherwise stay with your low cobra, just lifting chest. And melt the shoulder blades down the back body toward your hips. Exhale, roll down, release, press up through plank, back to downward facing dog. On the next inhale, right leg lifts back behind you, three-legged dog, lift it high, keep the heart low. Exhale, step through with the right foot, as many steps as you need to get there, lower the left knee down. And melt the pelvis down into the earth, soften the shoulders down the back body. Inner thighs toward the center, sweep the hands forward and up, and come into your kneeling warrior. Big breath in as you lift through the fingertips. Exhale, interlace fingers behind you. Inhale, open through the heart. Exhale, release. And from here, draw the hips back and come into a runner's stretch. Point and flex the foot. You can slide your heel forward a little bit on that right leg. And bow down, leading with the heart, flat back. And rolling the right foot down back into lunge. Hands frame that right foot and lift up the hip, step back into plank. Flow through your connecting vinyasa. Knees, chest, chin, lower down, exhale. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release up through plank or table and back to down dog. We're meeting down dog on the exhale and take another breath cycle here. Remember, each breath is an opportunity to celebrate your aliveness, because this breath has extended your life for the next moment. Lifting through the left leg now, three-legged dog, float it up, let the breath lift it. And exhale, step it through, lowering the right knee down. Slide the right knee back just an inch or so and soften the shoulders. Lengthen from your tail to your crown. As inner thighs draw toward the center, sweep forward and up. Pinky spin inward, shoulders drop, heart spreads. Tuck the tail under, rooting it down into the earth. Lift through the navel, in and up. And exhale, interlace fingers behind you. Spread wide through the heart. Big inhale. Exhale, release, fold back into your runner stretch and slide the left heel forward. Lengthen from tail to crown and offer your heart down toward the mat, toward your leg. Squaring your hips to the front of the mat. Maybe taking that point and flex of the foot. And then rolling your left foot down back into lunge. Step back into your plank pose. Flow through vinyasa. Some of you may be ready to take your low push-up, chaturanga, and come into upward facing dog. And make sure you pull the heart forward and the shoulders back, lifting pelvis and thighs and knees. The whole legs are lifted off in upward facing dog, except for the tops of the feet. Roll over the toes, press back to downward facing dog. It's also fine to take cobra. Up dog is an option. From here, the right leg sweeps up back behind you. Nice and long from fingers to tippy toes on the right side. Step it through into high lunge. So now the back of the left knee is lifted. You're going to spin that left heel inward 45 degrees and bring the right forearm to the thigh. And you're coming into Paschimottanasana, extended side angle. Notice how if you look at me, from the outer edge of my left foot to my left fingertips, there is an unbroken diagonal. If your stance is too short, your butt is going to stick up in the air. So grow nice and long here. Get nice and enough space between your front foot and your back foot. And from here, wheel up into your warrior two. drawing the outer edge of that right knee toward the pinky toe, open through the heart center, shoulders stacked over hips. So here's where that Ujjayi breathing really is useful, because that Ujjayi focus, but also helps us to sustain poses where we're feeling a challenge. It creates like an inner sense of focus and contraction that gives you the groundedness to stay present in the pose. Turn the front palm up and take it into your dancing warrior, lifting straight up and arching back. And here, if you want to take it into a flow, you can inhale into dancing, exhale into warrior two, inhale into your side angle, exhale into warrior two, and taking that flow, inhaling into your dancing. Every time you land in warrior two, that's when you come to the exhale. So usually when we move through the postures, the inhale invites an expanse, and the exhale a deepening or a releasing. One more time through that cycle. And next time you come into your extended side angle, you can take it into a bind if that feels good. Your upper hand can reach back behind you, opposite hand to the right hip, or you can grab your thigh, roll open, let your heart and your gaze look upward, and then release. Come into a lunge, or take it right into a revolved side angle lunge. So your left hand is under your shoulder, your right hand rises to the sky, your back foot is on the ball of your foot, toes curled under. Exhale, release, flow through vinyasa. For some of you, that might just mean lowering the knees down and taking a moment in child. For some of you, you want to take it more vigorous, take it into the up dog, up dog, down dog, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Meeting in downward facing dog, take another breath cycle here. And let that breath be a celebration of the life force that is extending your existence in this body one more moment. Left leg lifts up behind you, lift it high, heart stays low. Step it through, high lunge. And spin the right heel inward 45 degrees. Forearm to thigh, and we take it into that extended side angle. Check the alignment of your feet. Your left heel lines up with your instep of your right foot, and your right toes are just turned in a little past center. Your right hip is stacked on top of your left, your core is firm, and grow long from your heel to your fingertips. Now wheel it up to warrior two. If your leg is fatigued, your bent leg is fatigued, you can straighten that left leg and land again in warrior two when you're ready. Take it into that flow, dancing warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, extended side angle. Breathe in and grow longer as you take that deep breath. Exhale, land with power. Inhale. It's kind of a play between power and gracefulness. Strength and that beautiful expansiveness and lightness. Asana is a way we play with all of these energies. And one more time. Next time you come into your extended side angle, see if you can play with a bind, reaching that upper hand back behind you. Now the bind can either be grabbing your thigh with your forearm supporting yourself on your left thigh. Some of you take full bind, reaching under, grabbing opposite wrists, looking up at the sky. Want to make sure that upper shoulder rolls open. And then releasing, pivot the hips. You're going to come onto the ball of your right foot and take it all the way into a revolved side angle. Growing long and wide in all directions. Release. And step back and flow through that connecting vinyasa as you choose. Cobra, up dog, child. Whatever feels right for you here. Take another long, slow, deep breath once you meet in downward dog. And from here you can walk the feet between the hands or take a little hop to land there and sweep up. Big, wide sun breath, hands join above you and draw back to the heart. And just notice what you've cultivated as a result so far of our practice. And let's, if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. And I'd like to invite you to come into a balance exploration with me this morning. And the balance pose that I'd like to work on is the dancer pose. And what I love about the dancer is that it's a lovely, not only a balance practice and a leg strengthener, but it's also a heart opener. It opens the shoulders, the whole chest, and gives you a lovely back bend as well. And there's a lot going on in the dancer pose and a lot of different ways that we can work with it. So the first thing, to come into dancer pose, and I guess I need to come far enough so that you can see me. I'm going to do it sideways so that you can see the alignment of my body. We always start any balance pose in mountain. We're going to use the focus of your gaze, your drishti, your attention, to a spot on the floor a few feet in front of you that will keep you anchored. And some of you might find just having a fingertip against a wall is going to help support you in this pose. So whatever hand is against the wall, you're going to start with the opposite leg and bend it and see if you can bring your hand to your foot so that your knee is right underneath your hip and your heel is coming close to your buttock. If that doesn't feel available to you, you can always use a strap, and we will play with it with a strap in a moment. But you can hook a strap around your foot if you need to, if your quads are very tight or if your knee isn't happy with bending that much. I'm going to actually put this aside for a minute. Let's just get the basic. So what often happens is people come into dancer like this, and their knee is out to the side or back behind them. You want to start with your knee right under your hip, as if your foot was still there, as if you were still standing on your foot, so that we don't lose that mountain alignment. And then from here, there's going to be a little softening of the standing leg and unlocking of that knee. Otherwise, you might hyperextend that knee. And then folding from the hip crease. So there's like a hinge at the hip. You're going to fold forward, but the degree to which you fold forward, you have to kick back as well. So you're going to kick back. Even if you just kick back an inch, then you fold forward an inch. The other hand comes up to the sky, and your thumb and finger make the mudra, Dhyan mudra, which is the mudra of wisdom and higher knowing. So you make that, this mudra right here, making a circle with your finger and thumb. And you kick back a little bit, you fold forward a little bit. And try to get those toes nice and high. So you're going to kick up and then kick back into your hand. That stretches the shoulder, it stretches the front of the chest on the side that you're kicking back. You want to square your hips though. Don't let the hips open out to the side. You want to keep the hip pointer shining straight forward. So kick back, hinge forward, maybe bending the standing leg a little bit. Fix your gaze, reach your hand forward and make that mudra. And then to come out of the dancer pose, you're going to come right back to that preparatory pose, knee under the hip, hand to the sky. Even just standing like this in this preparatory pose is a wonderful practice. So take that on one side, and when you're ready to release, you'll return to mountain. And when you're ready to take it on the other side, again, if you need a fingertip against the wall, you can take that. Otherwise, you can do it freestyle, starting making sure you're squaring the hips and sliding that knee back. The knee that's bent, it's going to slide back in the same plane as your hip rather than coming out to the side. The point here is that you want to get that back bend. So after you've taken it for a moment on the other side, really see if you can feel that spreading wide in the heart, kicking up and back with those toes. So again, many people find that when they are just doing this, let me take it on the other side, I'm a little stronger on my balance on the other side, folding forward like this. This is not really the dancer because there's no back bend happening. You gotta get that lift, kicking the heel away from the buttock and lifting the toes high so you get that arch back. If that feels hard to do while you're balancing, here's what you can do. Bring your hand, one arm, about an arm's length away from the wall. Then try it just pressing with that extended hand into the wall so that you're not worried about the balance, and you can play with the back bend here. So you can focus on the arch in the spine. All right. I'd like to, see, I can't see what everybody's doing now. Everybody's got their video off, but that's okay. I want to show you one other way to play with dancer pose. And this is what I call the yoga journal dancer. It's the kind of expression of dancer that you would see somebody who's a really flexible yogi who you might find on the cover of the yoga journal. I do not have that kind of flexibility in my spine, so therefore I make use of a strap. It's the version of dancer where instead of reaching back behind you to grab your foot, you're going to reach over your head, elbows up to the sky, and you're going to reach for your foot behind you. It's kind of like if you've watched the figure skaters, the women figure skaters, they do this on the ice so deeply and beautifully, and then they're spinning around at like lightning speed while they're doing it. It just blows my mind. So let me demonstrate. Now this may not be for everybody. Again, you could try it with one hand against the wall, or if those of you who feel like what you've just done with dancer is enough, then you can play with another balance pose like tree or crane, something else for right now. For those of you who want to take this challenge, I'm just going to demonstrate. So you'll need a strap. It doesn't have to be a yoga strap. It could be a tie, any kind of sash or something. And if you'll notice, what I'm doing is I'm starting with that preparatory pose, but this time I'm walking my hands down the strap as close as I possibly can to my toes. I'm bringing my elbows straight up, not out to the side. I'm framing my ears with my upper arms. And maybe this will be just enough practice just to stand like that. It's a wonderful stretch through the rib cage here. And then I can take folding forward. It's actually not as hard as it looks to balance, because if you kick back and up, you will find your center of gravity. Look up, maybe let the head come back a little bit for a little bit more challenging practice, and it gives you that wonderful back bend. So you can play with that if you'd like. When you're ready to switch to the other side, you can take it to the other side. Again, if this practice isn't available to you or you don't have the materials, you can just take another balance pose of your choice. I don't think I'm quite ready for the cover of Yoga Journal yet, but this is as close as I'm going to get.
But boy, using that strap gives me such more lift, such deeper back bend. At the end of class, I'll be curious to hear how that was for you, what you noticed in your own body. And when you're ready, when you feel complete with your dancer practice or whatever balance practice you were doing, let's come back down to the mat. And let's take another back bend practice. We'll come into the camel pose. I'm going to go sideways so you can see the angle of my back as I do that. I'm going to be on my knees. Maybe you'll want a blanket or a knee pad underneath your knees for comfort. Everything is aligned like I'm in mountain, except I'm standing on my knees, kneeling. And hands come behind you to frame the sacrum. Elbows point straight back. Notice how that spreads the heart. Lift up lower ribs away from the hips. Look up, spread the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Squeeze the elbows toward one another and point them straight back. And look up. This is just the preparatory pose. You're going to keep your hips stacked over your knees. So as you arch the spine back, you're going to keep your hips steady so the thighs are straight up and down. And press into the low back to bring you back up to center. Some of you, to take the next level, might need a block, either a block between your calves and reaching for the edges of the block, or you can have a block on either side of your shins of your lower legs, pressing down into it to support yourself. The next level of challenge, I'm just giving you the options and I'll let you try it on your own. The next level of challenge would be to curl your toes under. And let one hand come down to your heel and then the other come down to your heel. So you're supporting yourself. Keep the hip pointers pressing forward. Thighs are straight up and down. Letting the head go back is optional. You can always keep the chin tucked. You want to squeeze the shoulder blades toward the center, spread through the heart. Imagine that golden cord is lifting your heart to the sky. Take a deep breath in, stick out your tongue, and go. Some of you will be taking this pose with the tops of the feet down. That is the deepest expression of this pose, toes pointed back. To come out of the pose, bring one hand to the low back, the other hand to the low back, press in, slowly lift up, and let the neck straighten last. Fold back into your child's pose, but this time with the inner thighs together, so that the belly is resting on top of the thighs, and the hands back toward the heels. So that was your camel pose. The rabbit pose is the complementary pose, so we stretch the spine the other way. And bring the hands over the backs of the heels, over the Achilles tendon, and grab your ankles from the inside so your palms face that little ankle bone that sticks out in the inside of your ankle, and the backs of the hands face one another. Grab your ankles and draw the hips up, straightening the arms. Hold and pull. You're going to roll onto the top of the head, onto the crown of the head. You're going to create that dynamic tension by lifting your hips to the sky. Try to straighten your thighs up and down. Arms straight, pull, pull, pull. Just lift the lower back up to the sky. Feel that nice space created between the vertebrae. And release, let the hips come back down. Release your hands into child's pose. Pressing up to table. And come into a seated posture.
with the soles of the feet together, making a diamond with the legs. We're going to come into another hip opener, seated bound angle. So some of you might find it useful to have maybe one fold of a blanket behind you. If you fold your blanket so that your sitting bones are right on the edge of that blanket, and let the pelvis pour forward a little bit. Soles of the feet together, open them like a book. The bottom edges of the feet stay connected. And just butterfly the legs. Stay long in the spine. Notice if you're going into Shlumpasana here, and see if you can recommit to that lifted spine like an arrow that goes from the tailbone right up through the crown of the head. Heart opens, shoulders draw down and back. And let the outer edges of the knees and thighs draw toward the earth. And tilt, pour the hip pointers forward a little bit. Lift through the navel. Lead with the heart, folding from the hip crease. Just find your edge here. Maybe it'll be only an inch forward. That's fine. Once you've met your edge, then that's where you get benefit out of the practice. Maybe you'll be able to come a little bit forward, more forward into that forward bend, finding a little more juice in the stretch in the hip crease and the inner thighs. Once you find the edge, you're going to play with that edge in a little dance with breath and movement. Inhaling, backing off just slightly from the edge and inviting more length in the spine. Exhale, leading with the heart, flat back. Just offer yourself into that edge. Inhale, lengthening, backing off a little. Exhale, meet your edge again with that Ujjayi breath. And notice how the edge, or whether the edge changes. By the time you've done several breaths of this, you might notice that you have a lot more ability to release into it than you did with your first breath. Because the edge is not a solid thing. It's a continually changing and shifting experience. And when we send the breath and send the attention into the places where we're noticing restriction in the body, and use the breath to massage it, we notice that it is continually changing. It's not solid. We are not solid, although we think we are. We are continually dancing, spinning, whirling, concentration of molecules, atoms, and energy. And our edge is not solid, although we think it is. Rising back up. Straighten out the legs, shake them out. Widen the legs as wide as you can. And see if you can scooch one heel and then the other a little bit wider. Again, you're going to tilt the pelvis forward. So you're going to come to the front edge of your sitting bones as those two pointer bones kind of pour forward a little bit. Externally rotate your thighs so that your knees point straight up and toes point straight up. Flex the feet so that you're sending energy out the heels. Energize the legs. Energize from root to crown, and bring your fingertips behind you and just press into the fingertips too. Again, invite that length, but keep the shoulders away from the ears. Heart spread. This is called Upavishta Konasana, wide legs, seated bend, seated forward bend. Maybe this will be enough right here. Maybe you feel that lovely stretch in the inner thighs. Maybe you feel energy in the hips. Otherwise, if you want to take it deeper, bring the hands forward and stay with that long arrow-like spine and see if you can just use your fingertips to control how far forward you go with this. Maybe you'll be able to go a few inches, maybe low enough to come onto your forearms. Maybe even lower, so you can bring your heart down and your forehead to the floor, reaching for your big toes. That's the fullest expression of this pose. Keep a flat back and a long spine. Or maybe you can make just spider fingers. I've got a picture of myself doing this on my Facebook page. Try to stay long, root to crown, lead with the heart. Back of the neck is long. Find your own expression of this. It's absolutely okay if you're just doing this, just slightly folding forward. Wherever you meet your edge is where you get the benefit. Releasing Upavishta Konasana, just bounce the legs back together. Bend, I'll mirror you here. You can bend your right knee, draw the right heel close to your sit bones. You can either keep it like this, or for a little deeper challenge, cross that right foot over to the left side. Bring the heel close to the opposite hip. Wrap your left arm around, hug that leg, that bent knee in close. Take it into a seated twist. Your right hand comes back behind your fingers, point to the back of your mat. Lift up on the inhale, deepen on the exhale. To take this a little bit deeper exploration, you can lift your left arm up and bring the left upper arm to the outside of the thigh. Give it a little more juice if that feels available. Lead with your heart. Try to level your shoulders with the long end of your mat, with the right side of your mat. One more breath here. And release. And unwind. We'll take that twist on the other side, slide the left heel in. Center yourself on your sit bones and lengthen from root to crown, or bring that foot to the other side and take your twist on this side. If it's available to you to take that forearm, not forearm, but upper arm to outside of your right thigh, I got that wrong, of your left thigh. You can take that for a little juicier twist. No need to force anything. Just listen to your body. And take this as a moment to reconnect with the quality of your breathing. Every exhale, a letting go of tension, of whatever doesn't need to be here, in the mind, in the body, in the heart. Every inhale, a lengthening and an opening to life force. And releasing when you're ready. Lengthen out. Shake out your legs again. We'll take Paschimottanasana. Paschimottanasana, the seated forward bend with the legs outstretched. It's like you're in mountain pose. You're actually in Dandasana here, staff pose, which is like mountain with a fold at the hips. Hands reach high. You're centered on your sitting bones. Long spine, fold forward. And either grab your above your ankles. Find your feet. Maybe your peace fingers can come to your big toes. Long spine. You're going to feel a nice stretch in the low back. Lead with the heart. Let the back of the neck be long, so tuck the chin slightly. Some of you might find that using a strap is helpful here. And placing a block in between your ankles can help keep your feet from banging together. Keeps them hip width apart. So take your expression of this Forward bend. And releasing, slide the hands back up toward up your thighs. And come off of your blanket. And come onto your back. Hug your thighs in close to your ribs. And just take a moment to rock side to side in Uttanasana. And just come to settle centered on your back. Interlace your fingers around your right shin. Extend your left leg along the mat, coming into wind relieving pose. Hug that right thigh in toward the rib. Lengthen through the whole back body from your left heel through the crown of your head. And then on the next inhale, lift your left leg off of the mat, let it hover about a foot or so off of the mat. Exhale, bring your chin to your chest, roll the head and the shoulders and the upper back off of the mat. Feel the core engage. You can either stay here or reach your fingers forward, palms turned up. Draw your fingers toward the front of your mat. Ujjayi breath. Hold for 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Keeping that right knee bent, lower the head and shoulders down. Lower the left leg down and place the right foot on top of the left thigh or knee. Take the left hand and guide that right knee all the way down to the left side. And reach your right hand out to shoulder height, T position. Turn your gaze toward the right, coming into a reclining twist. You can, if your spine has gone crooked in this twist, you can just walk your shoulders, kind of scooch your shoulders over to the left a little bit so they line up with your hips. And breathe, melting the back of the right shoulder down into the mat. Inviting the right knee, to come down toward the mat on the other side. Lots of breath. Inhale up to center. And hug the knees in toward the chest again. Taking wind relieving pose left side, clasp hands around left shin. Extend right leg. Grow long through the back body, long through the back of the neck. Hug that left thigh in a little closer to your ribs. And then inhale, lift the left leg. Lift the right. I don't have the right and left together today. Lift the right leg, extended toward the front of your mat. Exhale, chin to chest, rolling the head and shoulders off of the mat. Navel draws in. You can hold here or release the hands, palms turn up. Breathing in and out through the nose, firm core. See if you can keep the shoulder blades, the entire upper back rolled off of the mat. Chin to chest, nose toward, you're drawing your nose toward your pubic bone. Releasing back down I'm going to take it right into that reclining twist. So place the left foot on top of the right thigh or knee and guide that knee down toward your right. Let the left hand come out to shoulder height and scooch the shoulders over to the right a little bit so that your spine is more aligned with your mat. Turn your gaze to look at your left hand and melt the left shoulder down into the mat. And when you're ready to release this twist, coming back to center, bring the soles of the feet together and coming into reclining bound angle. The knees again open in that diamond shape. And you can either bring your hands to your belly, both hands to the low belly, below the navel, or one hand to the belly and one hand to the chest. So you can follow the rhythm of your breathing. Let the eyes close. Gentle Ujjayi. The breath begins at the belly, in the low belly. The below belly rises, the rib cage fills, the chest lifts. Take a little moment of pause at the top before releasing in the opposite direction, emptying chest, letting the ribs relax, and letting the belly draw in toward the spine. Firm as the earth, I am free. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true. And I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free. I am free. And as you're ready, begin to find your way into Shavasana, the corpse pose. So you can just slide your feet away from you, or you can pull your knees in together first if that feels better. perhaps putting a bolster or a pillow underneath your knees for comfort, or a blanket over you if you need. And letting the palms turn up. And letting the feet be a little wider than the hips, toes turn out just slightly. Let them gently flop out in opposite directions. And here the practice is to let go of any control of the breath. So you can release the Ujjayi breath that we've been practicing with throughout our time together. And just feel how the breath naturally moves. Trusting your body's own natural rhythm to give you just the amount of oxygen and prana that you need to sustain you. Remembering that breath is a miraculous metabolic process. It's also an energetic, enlivening rejuvenation and a letting go. And it's also a prayer. Inspiration, taking in spirit. The exhale being a surrender into that which breathes you. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as a flower, I am fresh as the dew, I am solid as a mountain, I am firm as the earth, I am free. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I am water reflecting what is real, what is true, and I feel there is space deep inside of me. I am free. I am free. I am free. Now begin to consciously deepen your breath. And bring some movement into your hands and feet, ankles and wrists. And any other movements that can bring you back into your body and back into present moment awareness. Any wiggles and waggles. And find your way over onto one side. And slowly bring yourself up to a seated position for our closing. And before we offer out our final Om, I'd like to just share with you these words from Jalaluddin Rumi, the Sufi poet. There is one way of breathing that is shameful and constricted. Then there is another way, a breath of love that takes you all the way to infinity. May we find together that second way of breathing, letting our breath be a celebration of our essential aliveness. Breath as prayer, a breath of gratitude. So let's take one more deep breath of gratitude and offer out the very simple and most basic wordless prayer, the sound of Om, reminding us of that connection with infinity. Hands at the heart. Deep breath in. Namaste. The breath of spirit in me sees and bows to and breathes with that breath of spirit in you.